calf rearing systems, we have restricted the amount of milk or milk replacer being fed. So traditionally, if you look on a bag of milk replacer, the instructions would probably indicate that you should feed about 500 grams of milk replacer. We have shown that if you move that level up, as I said, to a minimum of 900 grams, there are huge benefits in first lactation performance and longevity as well as the benefits on calf health and vitality in that pre-weaning stage too. This is just a slide that's showing organ development in calves. So along the bottom you've got age in days, and up the other axis you've got a relative increase. And all we've got, if we start on the top left, is heart, liver, lungs and muscle. And really what I'm trying to highlight here is that the majority of internal organ development in calves is within those first 50 days. So if the calf is developing internally in those first 50 days, surely it is those first 50 days that we really want to be providing the best nutrition possible. And the most efficient way we can offer that nutrition is via a quality milk replacer. This is a table which shows, and it's trying to bring together a number of bits of research and try and pull out sort of an overall summary. But basically what we've got here is a list of research which has looked at the amount of milk replacer or whole milk fed and the effect of pre-weaning growth on future milk production. Basically the summary of the research indicates that for every extra gram of growth that we achieve above an average daily live weight gain, we can expect an extra 4 litres in the first lactation. So for example, if you are pushing growth rates and you are feeding a LifeStart compliant milk replacer at a high level, say 900 grams, that would be sort of 200, 300, 400 grams above the average milk replacer feeding rate. We could therefore expect sort of 1,500 litres in the first lactation. There's also the advantages of a healthier calf, and there's also the advantages of carving that heifer into the herd earlier, so you've got reduced heifer rearing costs, but it also is the longevity of that animal as well. So it's an important fact to consider that for every extra gram of growth you can get in that pre-weaning phase, you can expect an extra 4 litres in that first lactation. That's quite a good headline figure that we can use to promote feeding calves correctly in that pre-weaning phase. This is just another trial that's looking at average versus high feed rates. And the table again is quite small, I do apologise, but all I will do is highlight here is that if we're feeding a high level of nutrients pre-weaning, the reason that we are getting these higher first lactation performance is all down to mammary gland development. So the research has shown that not only do we have more functional cells in that mammary gland, the activity of those functional cells is also higher, which therefore explains the increase in milk production. So it's all to do with mammary development and the activity of that mammary development as well. So I mentioned colostrum, and colostrum really is vital when talking about calf nutrition. This was a trial that was conducted looking at brown Swiss calves and just looking at feeding either 2 litres of a set quality of colostrum versus 4 litres. And the colostrum was fed within the first hour after birth. The total volume was fed during the first hour after birth. Subsequent milk feedings were all exactly the same. So the nutrition for both groups was identical, there weren't any variations there. So these were the results. So as you can see, there were 37 calves in the 2 litre group and 31 calves in the 4 litre group. So just remember, it's just the volume of colostrum that's changed. Nothing else has changed within this trial. So the average daily gain for the calves that received 4 litres of colostrum was over 200 grams higher. The number of animals present after the second lactation of those calves fed 4 litres was 12% higher, and the milk yield within the first and second lactation was over 1,000 kilos higher. So it's just a simple colostrum-based study. All subsequent energy levels were exactly the same, and that's the huge difference that correct colostrum management can have on calf health and calf performance. So the LifeStart research project, as I touched on earlier, LifeStart is underpinned by strong science and research. So we have a trial ongoing at the moment, which is a 5-year trial undertaken by our R&D department with support from a number of different academics and universities. But what we're doing on our research farm is that we've taken 70 Holstein Friesian calves, or 80 Holstein Friesian calves, and split them into 2 groups. 2 equal-sized groups. They are colostrum twinned and housed in the same environment, so variations on the experimental design are kept to a minimum wherever possible. One group of calves is being fed 30 kilos of milk replacer to weaning, and the second group of calves is what we call on an elevated plane of nutrition or a high plane of nutrition, and they're being fed a total of 60 kilos of milk replacer to weaning. So what we're trying to achieve via this study is to feed calves on 2 different planes of nutrition and follow these animals all the way through until their second lactation. So if we can understand how and why those calves are growing differently, and how we're doing genetics work with various different academics and other research projects ongoing at the same time. But if we can understand the science behind metabolic programming further, then we've got a lot more work to offer and to do in the future for sure. So this is a time scale. As I mentioned, it's a 5-year project and it's been underway for a couple of years now. So we've got some animals in their first lactation in the dairy herd, and we're collecting data all the time. As I mentioned, pre-weaning performance has a significant impact on lifetime performance of that animal. If we are supplying quality nutrition, which leads to strong early growth, we're going to have healthier calves. If we've got healthier calves, we're going to get optimal ruminant development. If we've got optimal ruminant development, our growth rates are going to be consistent through that growing phase, and we're going to be able to inseminate earlier. If we're inseminating earlier, we're going to have earlier calving, and if we're calving earlier, the heifer rearing costs are lower and they're entering the herd quicker. The research that we've shown, as I mentioned, also shows an increased milk yield, better longevity and a higher lifetime performance as well. So investing in your calves during that pre-weaning phase really does have significant benefits on the overall herd. This is just a final slide really, just to let you know that our research project and the LifeStart programme is completely accessible. So if people are on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, please join and follow the progress of the trial. And there's also some brilliant information on there on a number of different topics with regards to calf rearing. We've also got a website which is lifestartscience.com as well, which has got a number of videos and resources on there as well. So please follow us. So the final thing really is just to say that LifeStart sets life's performance. It's science-based, and investing in your calves is really investing in the future of your herd.